Molecules which are present in living system are known as biomolecules, and these molecules are not simple molecules, but these are macromolecules. These molecules are very large in size. So biomolecules, there are many biomolecules in living system. One of them are carbohydrate, then protein molecules, okay, then your nucleic acids. These all are very large molecules, big molecules, macromolecules, and present in living system. Along with that, enzymes, vitamins were also there, which are now not included. So we are going to talk about first carbohydrates today. Protein, nucleic acids we'll talk later. Okay. So today we'll talk about macromolecules. One of them is carbohydrates. Okay. Then carbohydrates. What are carbohydrates? In terms of a food component we talk about, then these are the substances which provide energy. In terms of their structure if we talk, then these are polyhydroxy, aldose or ketones. Means they have many hydroxy groups present in them, and functional group may be aldehyde or maybe ketone group present in these carbohydrates. So according to definition, these are polyhydroxy, and they are also optically active because of different groups present. So you can say optically active polyhydroxy, aldose or ketones are known as carbohydrate. Okay. Now, when we come to the classification of carbohydrates, carbohydrates can be classified as monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. Okay. The saccharides words actually was meant to talk about sugars. So carbohydrates are classified into sugars and non-sugars also. Though saccharide word means sugar, but monosaccharides and oligosaccharides are sugars because these are sweet in taste, and polysaccharides are non-sugars. These are not sugars because they are not sweet in taste. So these two can be included in sugars, as well as these polysaccharides can be included only as non-sugars. Now the classification: monosaccharide, oligosaccharide and polysaccharide. In monosaccharide, the sugars, or you can say the carbohydrates which cannot be hydrolyzed further into smaller molecules, these are monosaccharides. Means they contain only one unit of carbohydrate molecule. For example, glucose is a monosaccharide, that is C6H12O6. This is monosaccharide because it cannot be hydrolyzed into further smaller any unit. Then that is why it is monosaccharide. Glucose is example of it. Fructose is example of it. These are monosaccharides. Oligosaccharides, carbohydrates having 2 to 10 monosaccharide units are known as oligosaccharide. So common ones which are having 2 are sucrose. Sucrose is made up of 2 units. One is glucose, the other one is fructose. Okay. Maltose is another disaccharide which has 2 units. Both are glucose. Okay. So these are examples of disaccharides because they have 2 units. So these are disaccharides. So similar to these, from 2 to 10, if monosaccharide units are present, then those are classified as oligosaccharides. And polysaccharides have those carbohydrates which have more than 10 monosaccharide, means more than 10 to n number, large number. They will be known as polysaccharide. Example of polysaccharides are starch, cellulose. Okay, these are example of polysaccharides. So this is one classification on the based on the number of units of carbohydrate present in that particular classification. Now one more we have seen, that is either you can classify them as sugars or non-sugars. One more classification is there for carbohydrates is reducing and non-reducing sugars or carbohydrates. So reducing carbohydrates are those which reduce tollens and Fehling solution. Those are known as reducing. So all monosaccharides are reducing sugars. Okay, they can reduce tollens and Fehling. As well as among disaccharides, if we talk, then those who have their ketonic group or aldehydic group free, the group which is present is free to participate in the reaction, then those disaccharides also are reducing. For example, sucrose is not reducing sugar because the carbonyl carbon oxygen is bonded in this, the one which is needed to be participate in that to reduce the tollens or Fehling solution is not free to participate in that reaction, so it is not reducing. On the other hand, maltose is a reducing sugar. It is a disaccharide, but still it is reducing. So all monosaccharides and some disaccharides which have their carbonyl carbon free to react with the reagents are reducing. Okay, sucrose in disaccharide, sucrose is non-reducing sugar, and all polysaccharides are non-reducing because they form a long chain. Polysaccharides always form complex chains, so all of the carbonyl carbon are bonded to each other, so none of them is free to reduce these reagents. So all polysaccharide non-reducing. Now we come to monosaccharides again. Now monosaccharides are named as aldose or ketose depending on the functional group present. If aldehyde group is present, so they will be named as aldose. If ketonic group is present, then they will be known as ketose. Now, name of monosaccharides also depend on the number of carbon atoms present. For example, in glucose molecule, glucose is a monosaccharide. The number of carbon atoms according to formula C6H12O6 are 6. So it is hexo, and because it is aldehyde, in glucose there is aldehyde group, so hexoaldose. It is a hexoaldose sugar. On the other hand, if we talk about fructose, fructose is also having same formula, but the functional group present in fructose is ketonic group, so it is hexoketones. Okay. Similarly, if number of carbon atoms are less than pentaaldose, tetraaldose, trialdose, okay, like this the name of different monosaccharides can be there. Similarly, hexoketose, pentoketose, then tetraketose like this if ketonic group, as well as according to number of carbon atom names may vary. But we have to study only hexoaldose and hexoketose. Details we have to study about this. Introduction only of hexoketose, that is fructose. Okay, much detail, the whole detail is only for hexoaldose, that is glucose. Clear? This is the introduction part of it. Now the next thing is preparation of glucose. Now this preparation is not like the one we have finished in the 4 chapters. This chapter has some reaction, but those are different from the ones we have studied in the previous 4 chapters. Monosaccharide preparation. Glucose preparation. It can be prepared by 2 methods. One method is that hydrolysis of sugars. Hydrolysis of sugars, that is sucrose, that is C12H22O11 is the formula for sucrose. When is hydrolyzed in presence of acid, will give 2 units C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6. One of them is glucose, the other is fructose, because sucrose has 2 units, one glucose, one fructose. So one of the method of preparation of glucose is this, that hydrolysis of sugars can give glucose. Now second method is commercial preparation of glucose. On large scale, when it has to be prepared, in that case it is done by hydrolysis of starch. Starch, when hydrolyzed, give glucose. So starch is C6H10O5 whole N. Means it's a long chain of C6H10O5 units forms starch. When the starch is hydrolyzed in presence of acid, then large units of C6H12O6 are obtained. This is hydrolyzed back. From this actually water molecule is lost, C6H12O6. So it was glucose C6H12O6. From that water is lost, then it became C6H12O5. Then when it is hydrolyzed back, then again it will give N units, because whole N we have used here. So N units of glucose, N number of glucose are obtained. So this is used for commercial production of glucose. Clear? So these are only 2 methods for preparation of glucose. Clear? Now next thing is about the structure of glucose. So the structure of glucose was to be actually confirmed, that which type of structure glucose is having. It was known that it is a aldehydic sugar, and it was also known that it has 6 carbon atoms, but how they are arranged, or the group which is present is aldehydic or ketonic. To confirm all these, certain reactions were studied. So the reactions which we are studying are actually chemical properties of glucose, but those reactions we are studying to confirm the structure of glucose, that the structure which we are assuming that this is the structure is actually based on these reactions. So the structure which was given by Fischer for glucose was a straight chain, or you can say open chain structure. Fischer gave a open chain structure, and he said that they are arranged like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 CH2OH, numbering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This carbon number 1 is having the aldehydic group. On carbon atom number 3, the configuration of OH is inverse, opposite, and then it is like this. This structure of glucose was suggested by Fischer, and to us confirm that this structure actually exists, certain reactions need to be studied. According to Fischer, what was there? That there are 6 carbon atoms. There is a aldehyde group present on carbon atom number 1, and there are 5 OH groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 OH group hydroxy groups are present in the structure. They all are present on different carbon atom, not on the same carbon atom. These were the points which were present in the structure suggested by Fischer, and those have to be confirmed by studying some reactions. Okay. Now, reaction first. First reaction with red phosphorus plus Hi. When glucose was made to react with red phosphorus and Hi, okay, so CHO, CHOH whole 4 and CH2OH. In little short we are writing CHO, CHOH is 4 times and CH2OH. When reacts with P plus Hi, this is a reducing agent, so we get N-hexane is obtained. When these were treated with P plus Hi, we obtained N-hexane. This suggested that these all 6 carbon atoms are present in straight chain. So straight chain structure was confirmed by the reaction with P plus Hi. On reduction, it produced a straight chain N-hexane. Okay, so this was very first reaction which confirmed the straight chain structure of glucose. Second reaction. Second reaction was with hydrogen cyanide and hydroxyl amine. We know that if carbonyl group is present, CO group is present, then hydrogen cyanide produces cyanohydrins, aldehyde and ketone chapter we had studied this. Cyanohydrins are produced, and with hydroxylamine oximes are produced. So these two reagents were made to react with glucose to know that it has a carbonyl group present. So CHO, CHOH whole 4, CH2OH. When glucose was made to react with HCN, as a result cyanohydrin was obtained, OH and CN, CHOH whole 4 and CH2OH. This is cyanohydrin. Okay, and when it was made to react with NH2OH, next is NH2OH. When glucose was made to react with this, then the product obtained, it is visible here, C double bond NOH, H2 from this and O from this, water is lost if you remember the reaction. So NH, then CHOH whole 4, CH2OH. This is oxime. Glucose oxime is obtained, which confirms that glucose also has carbonyl carbon, C double bond O. Okay. Now this C double bond O is aldehyde or ketone. This was to be confirmed. First reaction confirmed they all are present in straight chain. Second reaction confirmed that this there is one carbonyl group present in this glucose, because it was giving cyanohydrins and oximes. Now third reaction. With weak oxidizing agent like bromine water. Now, when the oxidizing agent is weak, then it will oxidize only aldehyde, it will not oxidize ketone. This we have already studied. Or instead of bromine water, Tollens reagent can also be used. So when such reagents were used, it was found that CHO, CHOH whole 4, CH2OH when was treated with Br2 water or Tollens reagent. You can write here that also. Then this was converted into acid. Reacting with them means converted aldehyde group converted to acid group. CH2OH. This acid is known as gluconic acid. So when glucose is treated with bromine water or Tollens reagent, the aldehyde group is oxidized to acid, which suggests that this group is aldehyde group because weak oxidizing agent is also able to convert it into acid, that is gluconic acid. Okay. So three things confirmed. One is state chain structure. Second thing is that they have one carbonyl group. Third is that carbonyl group is actually aldehyde, not ketone. Okay. Now next reaction with acetic anhydride. When glucose was made to react with acetic anhydride, CHOH whole 4, CH2OH, CH3CO whole twice O, 5 molecules were taken. Then CHO, 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 COCH3, CHO, COCH3, CHO, COCH3, CHO, COCH3, and last one CH2O, COCH3. Then when it was treated with acetic anhydride, glucose pentaacetate was formed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the OH groups which are present were reacting with the acetic anhydride to form acetate. Acetate was formed and pentaacetate was formed. What was confirmed by this reaction? This reaction confirmed because it was forming pentaacetate having acetate group on separate carbon atom. This confirmed that these OH groups which are present in glucose are present on separate carbon atom, because if they are present on, there are chances that they may be present on one carbon atom, but whenever they are present on the same carbon atom, then in that case the molecule becomes unstable, and because pentaacetate is formed after that, that means the molecule is stable. That means the OH groups were present actually on the different carbon atoms, not on the same. So formation of pentaacetate confirms the presence of OH groups on separate carbon atom, all. So 4 things confirmed. The now next thing which is to be confirmed, we have to see the next reaction. Reaction number 5. And I suppose this is the last reaction. Yes, last reaction. So for total 4 reactions were there, one more is there. Now the reaction with strong oxidizing agent. Agent like concentrated HNO3. Okay, so CH2OH. When was treated with strong oxidizing agent like concentrated nitric acid, then this aldehydic group was oxidized, as well as the fifth carbon atom was also oxidized to the acid group. This suggests that out of all OH groups present, one of the OH group is 1 degree. The carbon atom which is bearing OH group, one of the carbon atom is 1 degree, because we know that 1 degree only can be oxidized to acid. 2 degrees cannot be oxidized until the chain breaks. Clear? So only this and this, so aldehyde oxidized to acid and 1 degree is oxidized to this acid group. So because of these, it was concluded that out of 5, one of the carbon atom is 1 degree, other are 2 degree, and the terminal 1 carbon atom is having the aldehydic group. Okay, so this acid is saccharic acid. The name of this acid is saccharic acid. So saccharic acid is formed when we are treating it with concentrated nitric acid. So considering all these reactions, the structure which we have written in the beginning was suggested by Fischer, that because of these properties which we have studied one by one in 5 reactions, the actual structure of glucose is this, that carbon atom number 1 is having aldehydic group, okay, then this is CH2OH, OH, OH, this H and OH, OH and H. So this was straight chain structure suggested. Now more accurately, if we want to say, this is the structure for glucose. More accurately, if I want to say, I will be saying that glucose is a dextrose sugar. Okay, dextrose sugar. So keeping in view this, instead of writing just glucose, I will write here D okay. So the exact name for writing glucose is this, D dash in bracket plus dash glucose. Now what is the meaning of this D which is written? D is not for dextrose. What is the meaning of this plus written? Now first thing is this, dextrose is for dextrorotatory and levose is for levorotatory. So glucose is actually a dextrorotatory sugar, because we said that carbohydrates are polyhydroxy aldose or ketose which are optically active. If we see this second number of carbon atom, you see that on this second number of carbon atom, it is forming 4 bonds. One bond is with OH, this one bond is with H, one bond is with CH2OH, and the 4th bond of this carbon is with this molecule. That means it's all 4 bonds are different, and when all 4 bonds of carbon are different, that molecule is chiral or optically active. So glucose are optically active. So when its optical activity was studied, so glucose was found to be dextrorotatory, rotating the light in the clockwise direction. So to show its dextrorotation, it is assigned a positive sign. So in the bracket, the positive sign which is written is indicating its rotation, that it is dextrorotatory. Now what is this D? Now this D and L, if is used, this is according to the glyceraldehyde and configuration of the second carbon atom. Means this D is not assigned for dextrorotatory. For dextrorotation, sign plus is given. So then what this D stands for? This D has been assigned actually because of this C, OH, H2, OH, H, H and CHO. This is glyceraldehyde molecule. When the structure of glyceraldehyde molecule first was studied before the study of glucose structure, then that time glyceraldehyde was labeled as D and L. Okay, so the glyceraldehyde molecule on the second number of carbon atom was having OH group on right hand side of the molecule. All were assigned D configuration, and this D is not related to optical rotation. This is just the configuration of the carbon number second from bottom, having OH group on which side. If it is on the right hand side, it is known as D glyceraldehyde. If it is on the left hand side, then it is known as L glyceraldehyde. So here in this case, D and L is not for rotation. So that means what we have written, D plus glucose, that means what? That on the second carbon atom of the glucose molecule, OH group is present on right hand side. That is why we are writing it as D plus glucose. Okay. So this is the meaning of D. Okay, so on the basis of glyceraldehyde, this name was given. Now, once all 5 reactions which were studied, after that this name was given that it is D plus glucose. Still, there were certain reactions which were not in accordance with the straight chain structure, or which cannot be justified with the help of a straight chain structure of glucose. So what were those things which were not explained with the help of this structure? And after this, Haworth has given its cyclic structure. That actually is the real structure. This is not the real structure of glucose. But these reactions which we have studied were explained on the basis of this. Along with that, there were certain things which could not be explained. So considering that, it was considered that the actual structure is cyclic structure, which can explain both the things which we have studied as well as which we are going to study more. So what were the things? Yes.
मैम इसमें थर्ड कार्बन एटम पे कॉन्फ़िगरेशन क्यों चेंज है OH का?
क्यों चेंज है? So see, structures are not decided by us. The structures are as they are. So it was found to be inverted on the third carbon. It will remain inverted on the third carbon atom always. In every glucose molecule, it is like this only. So structures, when studied, how they are obtained are studied. We cannot decide how they will appear. Okay. So what were the things? Just 2-3 points are there. We will discuss, and then structure, cyclic structure, we will discuss in the next class. So what were the points which could not be explained by this? We studied that in the straight chain structure, we found that hydroxylamine was able to react, hydrogen cyanide was able to react, but some weak reagents like NaHSO3 sodium bisulfite was not able to react with glucose. Similarly, 2,4-DNP dinitrophenyl was not able to react with this glucose, as well as Schiff's reagent. These 3 reagents which are supposed to react when carbonyl group is present, because the reactions of these are similar to the reaction with HCN and reaction with NH2OH, but these are little stronger reagents and these are little weak, but the reactions both of them which give are same. So these reactions we have seen were explained with the help of straight chain structure, but these reactions were not given by the glucose. So this was a controversy, that if a straight chain structure is there, then these reagents are giving reaction, then why these reagents are not giving? So the explanation was given that actual structure of glucose is not straight, it is cyclic, and because these are strong reagents, so for that moment they are able to break that cyclic structure and able to react and give the product, but because these are weak reagents, so they are not able to break the bond and convert it, not giving. Hence it was concluded that structure is not straight but it is cyclic. This was one reason. Second was there that when glucose was crystallized, it was known to appear in two forms, alpha and beta glucose crystals were obtained. And these alpha and beta 2 forms are only possible when the structure of glucose is cyclic. For state chain structure, these alpha and beta anomers are never obtained. These are called anomers that we will see in the next class. So alpha and beta forms were obtained for crystallized glucose, that is possible when the structure is cyclic. One more point was there, that when pentaacetates are formed, and if we try to react hydroxylamine with pentaacetate, glucose was reacting with pentaacetate, it was fine. But when hydroxylamine is made to react with pentaacetates which are formed, then that time hydroxylamine is not able to react. That means when glucose molecule has already performed reaction with acetic anhydride, that time aldehyde group is not free. What we have reaction written on the board that time previously, we had seen that we have shown aldehyde group free and remaining 5 OH groups were forming acetate. But even after that, if we found that pentaacetates are not able to react, that means the reaction is some different, not what was written. So these were the 3 points which have given the reason for considering cyclic structure of glucose, not state chain structure.